So, Last of Us 2. Well, I haven't seen such divisiveness recently. I mean, there were Captain Marvel, Last Jedi, Doctor Who, Ghostbusters, Charlie's Angels, Men in Black, Battlefield. Fine, there have been some. But this one hit close to home. Now, if you're expecting me to bash Naughty Dogs or Neil Druckmann and hate on Abby, well, that's not what this video is about. Neither will I be praising glories to high heaven and compare it to Schindler's List. Instead, let's deconstruct. Let's shift through the misinformation, personal taste, review bombing and censorship, and hopefully come out at the end understanding all the sides a bit better. Warning at this point, to deconstruct this saga, we will need to dig deep into the game, which means we'll be discussing some major story events, including the ending. So, spoiler alert here. If you do not want to know about any of these plot points, I guess you have around 15 seconds to switch this video off. Some of my other content might interest you though. I would strongly recommend the video on Humble Pie. This is a plug and giving you more time to switch. As far as formatting of this video, we will first talk about some of the negatives. If you think there are none, then please allow a discussion. To clarify, negative means things that players didn't like. First, we have death. Oh, actually it's a brutal death of the character you played as and loved in the first game. If you have seen Glenn's ending in The Walking Dead, that's the kind of gruesome death we are talking about here. There are some additional complaints about Joel, but we'll have it in the same section. Next, Ellie, the little girl you went through hell in the first game to save. Well, most players were thinking that this is the character you'd be playing as. That didn't exactly happen. Then the most controversial character, Abby. Damn, she gets more hate than Captain Marvel. I understand why, but not necessarily agree with it. So why the hate? Well, to start with, she's the one who kills our beloved hero from the first game. More reasons to hate? Well, remember how I said players thought they would be playing as Ellie? Guess what? For a major part of the game, you play as this character. That did not sit well with many gamers. We also have some asinine reasons that we'll get into. Some hate are regarding forced diversity and the story itself. And finally, some are hating the game ending and the game message. Then we'll talk about some of the positives. Again, if you think there are none, then please allow a discussion. No real breakdown, it will be a mix of things and not much to discuss. But as the bulk of the discussion would revolve around negatives, we'll touch on all the positives in one go. So let's jump into the actual negative points. We have Joel, our protagonist from the first game. If you have played it, you would have loved him. You were him. You felt his pain from losing his family. You see him opening up to a girl that he is to escort across states. Oh, of course, this is while a zombie apocalypse is going on. You get to make the bond with her, almost like a surrogate daughter, and when you come to the end of your journey, well, you find out that the procedure that can create a cure would also kill that little girl Ellie. You lay a path of destructions and dead bodies like any father would, and you carry your little girl away to relative safety. Amazing. So that guy, right, gets his head bashed in by this she-devil with a golf club. How could you not react? You were him. You feel the hate for this character to the extent when Ellie witnesses this murder and utters, "I'll kill you all." You said to yourself, "Yes, I will." Makes sense, right? Now I'll jump topic just for a moment. Have you seen a movie called Rashomon from director Akira Kurosawa? In Rashomon, you see aftermath of a murder, and then the event recalled from several different perspectives. It was truly record-breaking at that time. It's the perspective that I'm talking about now. Imagine a story. A fungus had mutated and infected patient Zero in the year 2013. The infection spread throughout Asia, Europe, and the Middle East, showing signs of change in human behavior due to the infection. By the end of the year, it was everywhere. As the years passed, that fungus mutated even more to become deadlier. A group of survivors in this hostile environment worked away for a treatment. All that needed was a sample from one individual. The survival of the entire human race was in balance against this one person. Brutal, the thought was, but it was also necessary. Just on the brink of success, the sergeant was murdered and diminishing the chance for a cure. A girl sees her dad's dead body on the floor next to the operating table. You know what is going through her mind? Revenge. Forget the rest of the world. It wasn't about that. This was a personal vendetta.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
That girl is our monster Abby. Do I understand her point of view? Yes, I do. It will sound absolutely horrible, but at times the need of many can outweigh the need of a few. From this point of view, the revenge is just. A daughter has lost her dad and wants revenge. Revenge against Joel. You can understand that, right? Personally, if I had played the first one and had that feeling towards Joel, I would hate Abby as well. But understand that for someone new to this game, it probably wouldn't matter. Players were ready to expect Joel to die either in the first one or this one, but I think the death came very unexpected at quite early in the game. One may argue that his character didn't get the justice he deserved, or that he's been nerfed. On the first game we had a Joel who was cautious, meticulous. In this game he is slow, a lot more trusting, which is a huge contrast from the first game. There have been some videos comparing marketing materials to the released game where you can see a different character model for Joel, where in the final game the model looks much older, much battered. In my opinion, the first objection doesn't hold water. We complain when our weapon breaks down too quickly. We complain if our character runs out of breath quickly. We play in a make-believe world where a medikit fully heals us. The character we play as are not the same as the supporting cast or the NPCs. I will touch on game development psychology later on, but for now, Joel was the main character you played as on the first part. In second part, he is a secondary character, older, and the story needed him to be feeble. Last of Us doesn't have a canon, and that's all I have to say about that. As far as model discussion, do you remember the water scandal from Spider-Man? How about Watch Dogs? Now, this is from my personal experience. I have developed and released one game with some others in limbo. The released one is a VR painting game, initially for my little one, and then I thought every dad should have this for their little one. Oh, and moms can play it too. This game is completely free, without ads and loot boxes, and is available on Steam. There should be a link in the description, and a huge shout out to my buddy Nikita for this game. He also did the artwork for my handsome face. So apart from a self-promotion, I'm actually making a point. As I have published a game, I'm technically a game developer. When I made my game, it evolved over time. Texture changed, model got swapped, things happened. If I had thought of a time lapse, you would see how different it became at the end. For Last of Us 2, is it possible for Naughty Dogs to face the same issues I faced? Oh why, yes! I believe it is possible. Is it possible that Naughty Dogs did it to mislead the audience? Oh why, yes! I believe it is possible. But you see, I also believe in two things. 1. Innocent till proven guilty, and 2. Burden of proof lies with the prosecution. I think that covers Joel. Now let's move on to Ellie. Well, I think for this character, the main problem obviously is you don't play the whole game as her. This in a way reminds me of that Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, when everyone was expecting to play as Snake and ended up with Snake wannabe Raiden. This protagonist switch, legally I think it's okay. Mind my qualifier, legally. Because if they haven't said anything and it was our assumption, well then we made an ass out of ourselves. Personally, I think it can be a low move. Think of any recent Bruce Willis straight to DVD releases. You can see from the camera work that Bruce most probably didn't spend any time with any of the cast members. But when you see the trailer, you most probably see all the scenes he is in. Flip side of the coin, some big shot decided for a small movie called Shawshank Redemption by a new director shouldn't have the author's name in the promotional material, as it might give the viewer a wrong idea about the movie. And if it's okay to mention Kevin Spacey, he didn't want his name included in the opening title of 7 to keep the John Doe intrigue going. Maybe being an old school kayfabe wrestling fan, I'm more okay with this than most people. That's why you have reviews, right? I got a game recently from Humble Bundle called The Messenger. It starts as fast Ninja Gaiden-like game and then halfway through flips to Metroidvania genre. It would have been a surprise, and if I weren't a fan of Metroidvania, I would have hated it. But from reviews, I know what it is, that's all. It's a completely valid reason to not liking a game though.